The 2018 highlight reel from 61 Kartway. We take you to race 4, our last race at 61. The highlights here were something to watch right off the bat in Heat 1. It was amazing to watch the 44 of Gage Kemp trying to hunt down the number 98 of Nelson Ulinski. He gets by him here on the start, and it was Joseph Rapp in third behind this battle all race long. The three of them would go head to tail for a majority of the heat, and you can see here Gage Kemp has a shot at the 98 right off the beginning of the restart of the start of the race, but the 98 is able to prevail on the outside line. Nelson would lead every lap in heat number 1, and Gage Kemp would not be able to close the gap to get his heat win. So coming across the line for the checkered flag, it would be Nelson Ulinski grabbing his first heat win of the day, and I believe his first of the season. There you can see Nelson Ulinski, your Heat 1 winner. Then it was on to Heat 2, and, well, this heat wasn't quite as exciting. Max Geitzenauer got out in front early after a little bit of maybe some contact there on the start. Joseph Rapp letting him in line there, and you can see here from the front of Gage Kemp's nose cone, it was a hectic start because there were fast karts in the back, some slower guys in the front, and everybody was trying to mix it up for the lead and try to get all they got. But then we had a pass for the lead later on in lap 1, and it was Joseph Rapp getting the inside to Max, but there was a little bit of trouble in this pass. As you can see, Gage Kemp made a huge move on Morgan Schuler, but then it was Joseph Rapp and Max Geitzenauer making a little bit of contact in the money maker, and that would lead to Max losing several positions. Gage Kemp would get to the bumper of Joseph Rapp there, but as the race went on, the 26 would pull away and grab his first heat win of the day in heat number 2. So you had Nelson winning Heat 1, Joseph winning Heat 2, and a couple solid second place finishes in both the heats for Gage Kemp. So it was shaping up to be an interesting final, with Joseph Rapp starting on pole, but he would have some bad luck on the start here as Gage Kemp would get by him and pass him for the lead. But the bleeding wouldn't stop there for the 26 of Joseph Rapp in the early goings of this feature race. He would go from 1st to 4th in about a half a lap. And as you can see here, Gage Kemp would get the better of him, and then Morgan Schuler would dive to his inside, and they'd go side by side through the S's here on the first lap. And then Nelson Ulinski tried to squeeze his way in there, but Joseph held on to the position up until this corner right here, where he may have gotten nudged a little bit out of the way for the 3rd position, and that would relegate him back to the 4th spot. And you can see from the outside view how Nelson got the job done, and that would set up an epic battle for the race. All 4 karts were smashed together, but then trouble for Nelson Ulinski as his motor mount would come loose and he'd throw a chain during the race. Because of that, he would go out of the race at lap 7. He would finish in the 5th position, and unfortunately what could have been an exciting race between 4 karts ended up being a race between 3, but it was still very exciting as this set up for some tough, hardcore racing throughout the race. First, it was Gage Kemp versus Morgan Schuler several times after that Nelson Ulinski incident. Morgan was able to catch up to Gage, and he made a couple efforts to try and get to the inside of him. Look at this crossover move from the 44. Great driving by both racers here. Joseph Rapp behind was looking for a place to sneak in, but watch this. Morgan Schuler is able to squeeze his way back in the line and not lose the 2nd spot. Great driving by the one of Morgan Schuler to keep the 2nd spot late in the feature. Here again, you'll see from Joseph's onboard the crossover move from Gage Kemp, and just look at how well his car turned through the center of the corner there, able to make that crossover move, and the side-by-side racing down into the moneymaker, and how he squeezes his way in there. Then, later on in the race, Morgan would try it again, only this time in turn 1, and he wouldn't be able to get him though, because when he got to the S's, of course, he was on the outside and had a disadvantage, but look at how close he comes to clearing the 44 here. A pivotal moment in the race, it could have been for Morgan to get out in front. And then in the final 3 laps, business really picked up. Morgan Schuler finally gets to lead and is able to clear Gage Kemp. Joseph Rapp is not able to follow him through, though, as you can see there. Gage is able to keep the 2nd position, as we can see him side by side through there. And you see Joseph was on the bottom trying to get the 44, but couldn't quite make it happen. We'll go on board with Joseph Rapp here. Great move by Morgan, and then Gage had a really good drive off the corner to get momentum down the straightaway. Well, that'll help maybe from the 26 to get the 1 by, and then these two would go side by side, and Joseph would be at a disadvantage on the outside lane, so he'd give the spot up to Gage Kemp. Or would he? Because later in the race, it was Gage Kemp versus Joseph Rapp, and yep, Joseph was able to get him in the same corner Morgan did, moving him to 2nd position, and Gage would end up going back to 3rd. Gage was asking for a little bit of bump draft, but the 26 said, no way. Got to his inside and was able to get to the 2nd position with 2 laps to go. The gap to Morgan was still fairly big, though, so the race was looking over, but an epic handling race cart led to some epic battles between Morgan versus Joseph, and on the final lap here, we would see a photo finish between the 2 drivers as Joseph would pull to the outside of Morgan Schuler trying to make the pass in the kink. Could he get it done? Well, he was able to outbrake him in the last corner, but Morgan tries a crossover move, and you can't see it here, but it is possibly one of the closest finishes we've ever had here at 61 Kartway. And then from the outside view, you can really see it. Gage Kemp was there as well. All 3 drivers were separated by less than a 1/10.5, which is pretty amazing for this race. And there you see a checkered flag and just how close it was. All 3 of them coming across the line together. So the feature winner would end up being Joseph Rapp. Yes, he went from 1st to 4th, back up to the lead, and in a photo finish style, he would take the victory lap there at 61 Kartway for race 4. And the championship points would show Nelson Yalinsky taking the lead in the point standings. So your race 4 winner, Joseph Rapp, congratulations to him. Until next time, here are your race 4 results. So long, everybody. We'll bring you highlights from race 5 this week.